Order, if you will, please rise, and Mr. Axlock will lead us in prayer, and Mr. Mountain will lead us in a pledge.
Let us pray, God. Heavenly Father, God, we just thank you for this day that you've given us, God, and all the many blessings in it. We thank you for each person in this room. God, I pray special blessings for them. I pray that we just honor you in the things that we do and the things we say tonight. I pray you be glorified in it. But I pray for the ones that are not here tonight, or some close friends of ours. I pray blessings on them. I pray you have your hand in their health, restore them to their health, God. I pray your will be done in their lives, but God, we do pray for that. Thank you for this school year we've had, God. I'm thankful for your safety for all of our teachers and all our students. God, I pray that you bless this meeting. And I pray your name be glorified and your name be lifted above all names. In Jesus' sweet name I pray. Amen.
Amen. Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Well, welcome everyone to our May board meeting. We appreciate everyone being with us. Move to item 3 on the agenda, approve the minutes of the April 9th, 2026 regular session as received. Motion by Ms. Weir, second by Mr. West. Any discussion? If not, all in favor? Any opposed? Motion passes. Item 4, approve the agenda for the May 14th, 2026 regular session as you have in front of you.
I make a motion to approve the agenda.
Motion by Mr. Sherrill,
I'll second.
second by Mr. Lynn. Any discussion? If not, all in favor? Any opposed? Motion passes. Item 5 is our public comment period. Nobody signed in, we will proceed. Item 6, discuss the director's evaluation and consider the director's contract. You have a copy of the cumulative score of Ms. Monroe's evaluation that we all completed. You see here the ones that were returned to us. As you will recall, this is the way we've done it over the last several years. But based on the evaluations returned, depending on the boxes checked, 5 exceeds expectations, 4 consistently meets expectations, 3 usually meets expectations, 2 seldom meets, and 1 never meets. So based on the boxes that you selected in your evaluation, we summarize these. The overall average there you can see is a 4.31. It's a little bit higher than Ms. Monroe had received last year at 4.21, I believe. So that is obviously above consistently meets expectations and just below exceeds expectations always. So that is the result of our evaluation that we perform every year. It's one of the things that we are required as a board to do by law is to provide this evaluation for our director. Does anyone have any questions over the evaluation process? Traditionally, we have also at times considered the director's contract at this moment as well, just based on the fact that we have done the evaluation and everyone has given it some thought. Ms. Monroe's current contract would expire June 30th, 2027. So she has roughly just a little over a year on her current contract. And obviously we couldn't extend her any longer than 4 years in total, but it is an opportunity to consider that. I will say that we advertised accordingly based on the evaluation and consideration of the director's contract, if you so choose. There have been times as well that we've not done anything. So it is up to the board at this point. Does anyone have any questions regarding Ms. Monroe's contract?
Is Ms. Monroe, are you willing to
Be accepted?
Yes.
Okay. I'll make a motion to extend 2 years. If you accept that. It'd be 2 plus the 1.
So expired 6/30/2029. I have a motion on the floor by Mr. Sherrill to extend Ms. Monroe's current contract 2 years, which would, put the expiration date, end date of the contract at 6/30/2029. Do I have a second? Seconded by Ms. Weir. Any discussion?
Is the public allowed to discuss during this meeting?
No, not at this point, no, sir.
Thank you, I didn't know if it was the last meeting or, go ahead.
You could have addressed
I mean,
anything on the
previous
agenda.
month or for this month as well.
You could have addressed
That's
what was
fine,
on
I
the
just didn't know
agenda
the protocol.
at the public comment period, right, but not at this
Okay,
point.
that's fine.
So again, we have a motion on the floor, Mr. Sherrill, seconded by Ms. Weir, to extend Ms. Monroe's contract 2 years, which would put the termination date, to June 30th, 2029. Any discussion? If not, we'll call a roll. Mr. Sherrill?
Aye.
Ms. Weir? Mr. West? Mr. Melton? Mr. Ashlock?
Aye.
Mr. Lynn? And I vote aye. Motion passes. Item 7, request bids for A, non-ethanol gasoline, diesel, motor oil, antifreeze, B, propane fuel, C, dust mops, and mats. We do this, every May, and at this point, we are just requesting bids for these items.
Motion to request bids.
Motion by Mr. West. Second by Mr. Lean. Any discussion? If not, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Item 8, consider bids for a resurfacing pre-existing parking lot at Salina K8. You have a copy of all the bids received. The bids were opened, this morning at 10 a.m. Ms. Monroe opened those bids. If you recall, we discussed this project just a little bit. We have several surfaces in need of paving, but the surface at the K8 was the most dire and probably the biggest undertaking. So we proceeded with bidding this project last month, and we did receive 5 bids, which we're thankful for that. And again, you have a copy of those those bids in your packet. I apologize, you just received those today, but that was the way the timing and everything worked out. In order to make sure our specs were proper. Additionally, we wanted to make sure we were correct in how we proceeded from a legal standpoint as well, making sure that a civil engineer was not required at this point.
So the base fee would be the total amount it would cost? on the
Exactly.
project, right?
Yes, sir. Well, no, the base bid plus everything else.
Everything with it?
Yeah, so,
Well, the undercut on one of them's a lot higher for some reason. I don't know if that's a misprint or.
there's 2 outliers. The first one, the undercutting is extremely high, and then the second bid is very low. So, the other 3, are in the same neighborhood, which, that makes me feel that, there was, better understanding there.
Yeah. Of course, the other 3, the last 3 mentioned are probably the big hitters in the paving industry, I'd imagine. I know that all of them, but, Jarrett Builders is very good. But they look more, they match a little bit better than the other two, yeah.
Yeah. I think, were you able to call on your references, Mr. Rowe?
And we've been in package one, and I searched and searched, we could not find it. And none of them.
Yeah.
And Rogers Group's been around a long time.
They have.
They would, currently they're the low bid.
They are. These other guys do just as good as they do. That's a big corporation.
Mhm.
I understand it's a little bit, but me personally, I would rather give it to a man that, someone besides a big corporation like that myself. Are we voting on this tonight? Who pays it?
Yes, sir.
Where are they from? I mean, I don't know none of, I've heard of Rogers Group.
Cornerstone's from Cookville, Edmonds from Baxter, Jarrett's from Nashville, Golden DRP, Monterey area, of course Rogers is everywhere.
They own the quarry here too,
Yes, sir.
That's what I.
Are they all the, I mean, are they the same? I mean, they've been told the same thing?
They, I
Same
think all
thing.
these, folks showed at the pre-bid meeting, correct?
They had to be.
And so we had,
Are they all reputable? I mean, are they good companies?
they are, we have, we've done work, Edmonds has done stuff for us before. I think they probably resurfaced the last thing that was done.
They did, at all three schools, they did the crack and reseal and all that back in 2019.
Jarrett Builders, they provided some consultation services. Cornerstone is fairly new, I think, as far as formation of the company, but as I understand, he worked for Rogers Group.
He pretty much run the paving part. A lot of the stuff Roger did, he was good at it. Pete Thompson's his name.
Do you guarantee stuff like that? I mean, the work, I don't know.
They don't have to meet specs.
Right.
They want to do the specs.
So if they're all, again, if they're all the same, if they've been told the same thing, why wouldn't we go with the low one? If they're the same,
Right. Other than
we might.
preference as far as a large
Right.
corporation
Right.
versus a
Right.
smaller company. One thing that we could consider as well in addition, and especially, if maybe even we did go with one of the lower, bids provided, there are, consultants, that you could hire, on our behalf that would essentially oversee the project and make sure that the, contractor was following specs. Yeah. Not saying any of these guys would be the situation. What you worry about, I think, a lot of times with a paving project is some fellow rolling through here from, Georgia, Lower Alabama somewhere and say, hey, I'm paving 2 driveways, I'll bid that while I'm here. And then we never see him again after he rolls through. With these guys, they're all, have a local presence. So, but that was a recommendation at some point through this process that some, school systems and other organizations will use ultimately an overseer, if you will, to make sure specs are being followed. Because Mr. Monroe could stand out there every day, and I don't want to speak for her, but she would, we wouldn't know if it's following specs or not. I'd be the same way. Now, Nick might be a little bit more knowledgeable in it, but, he's probably not gonna stand there all day
I
either.
think they've been accused of that.
Someone like Rogers Group, even if they're big, they're still gonna work local people in the area, in the county or two over.
That's true.
There's some people from Clay County that
If
work
they're
for
the
them.
same.
We all know what's up for it.
Seriously, if they're the same, I make a motion to use Rogers Group.
I'll say.
I have a motion on the floor of Mr. Ashlock to go with Rogers Group. And seconded by Mr. West.
Which was a low bid.
Yes, correct. Rogers Group was a low bid. Any discussion?
Do we know how many cubic yards there was, or will be? I mean, it says, of course, he's cheaper, looks like on his heavy duty paving, which it don't matter at this point. But how do we know, even though they give us the undercut price, how do we know how many cubic yards there is to add that up?
As I understand it, I may be wrong, but the undercutting process they wouldn't really know till they got into
As they
it,
done
right?
it, right?
If they got into a bad spot or whatever. And we may have some of that.
Yeah,
Uh,
thank you.
That, they would have to tell us to authorize it before we have to issue a PO in addition to their bid, if
Okay.
that helps.
Yeah.
Again, a motion on the floor by Mr. Ashlock, seconded by Mr. West, to go with the low bid Rogers Group. Any further discussion? I would ask, does the board see fit to use a specialist to oversee the project?
Not with Rogers Group. I wouldn't. But it's up to y'all, where y'all want. But they do it every day of their life, that's all they do.
Right.
I've dealt on the other end, I never dealt on the paving end, I've never had those.
So again, motion on the floor by Mr. Ashlock, seconded by Mr. West to proceed with Rogers Group or to bid to them as low bid. Any further discussion? If not, I'll call a roll. Mr. Ashlock?
Aye.
Mr. West? Ms. Weir? Mr. Melton?
No.
Mr. Sherrill? Mr. Lynn? And I vote aye. Motion passes. Brings us to item number 9. Consider the 2025-2026 general purpose school budget amendment number 5. You have a copy of that, proposed budget in your packet. Again, you'll see there at the bottom, the increase in revenues is a result of the summer camp funds. And then, there's some other moving around, but.
It's in pre-K and special ed, we just needed to make, some changes inside those categories to make me not over in, benefit line items for choices, and, one of them's a medical leave that we're needing to fill for certified substitute teachers, and the other one is non-certified subs and educational assistant cleanup in pre-K. And then the other equipment, the 4,600, in capital outlay, that's an ISM change, trying to finish out that grant.
I'll make a motion to approve the amendment.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Sherrill, seconded by Mr. West. Any further discussion? If not, all in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes. Item 10, consider non-faculty volunteer coaches. A, Clay County High School cheerleading, retroactive to May 4th, 2026. And B, Salina County softball. You have a copy of those coaches in your packet for the respective sports.
Yes, they completed background checks.
They have,
training.
Rob, everybody.
You recommend?
They are, but these ladies are helping.
They're all good, yeah, helping them with the skills, I think.
So you recommend all these folks?
I do, Mr. West.
Motion to approve.
Motion by Mr. West, second by Ms. Weir. Any discussion? If not, all in favor? Any opposed? Motion passes. Item 11, discuss contracts for custodial services at Salina K-8, Clay County High School, and Hermitage Springs School. You have a summary there that actually provided for us, with the recent history of these contracts for custodial services. As you recall, a few years ago, we only had a couple of these, and then, based on some changes in personnel, folks retiring, we, had to, issue a contract for Hermitage Springs as well. These contracts also come up for consideration, every year around this time. The options that we have in regards to the contracts are to roll them over at the current price, anywhere from the current price, plus we can, raise that, contract fee up to 3% and still roll them over. Another option, obviously, we have the same option every year, is to bid all these services. You have I know we like to get the opinions of, folks in the building. You have, Mr. Maxfield's unable to be with us tonight because of the Salina K graduation, but you have a note from him in his packet that, in our packet, that he is satisfied with the current custodial contract and those services.
It's not in your packet, sorry.
Oh.
It's just that.
Oh, sorry. I have a copy here, but he says,
Sorry.
I am very satisfied with this custodial contract that we have in place. I would like to continue using the group at our school. Thank you, David Maxfield. Would the other two principals like to speak?
I completely agree. Any issue we've had, it's been dealt with really quick. They're really good, especially when we rent the facility and they cover for that. I have no problems.
Thank you, sir. Dr. King?
Yeah, we had a good conversation yesterday. We're good at the high school, keeping the same.
One thing that, needs to be considered, to some degree, a slight change in scope, at the high school. We would, obviously have to include the new CTE building. That was new since technically we have, agreed to a contract with, Ms. Angela there, Ms. Collins at the high school. So that will be included. Another item that, it will be up for, conversation as well to include in the contract, and ultimately gets them on equal footing with Salina K. It will be some pressure washing at the entrance area. Part of the contract at the Salina K is to do that pressure washing as you come in there in the main entrance, and I think the high school's probably in need of some of that as well. So that would,
So you'd add pressure washing and another building, essentially,
correct.
for high school.
Has that been discussed with her and she's okay with those out?
She was, both of, your contracted services have both said, as you all know, for 3 years, they've been consistent with their pricing, and that, as we all know, the cost of everything goes up. So, she was willing to do those things, but she said she would like some help with it, which would be within the increase, and Tammy and Donna felt the same way at the at the K-8. They said, we know, that it's just a lot of kids and a lot of cleaning, so, at the K-8 level, so.
So again, we could, roll over these contracts with an increase up to 3%, or, we could bid. It has been some time since we have bid these contracts.
Make a motion, we keep the same ones we have.
At the same level, or would you like?
No, I'd say give them the 3%.
3% increase?
I'll say so.
Motion by Mr. Milton. Roll over contracts with a 3% increase.
And we are gonna add that, the building and pressure washing into that contract,
I think, yes.
in the writing.
Correct. And then, that was seconded by Mr. West, correct. As we did discuss, if, for instance, someone had a change of heart based on our decision tonight, roll these contracts over at, this cost plus 3%. Worst case scenario is that from an executive committee standpoint, we just request bids. If we did that, obviously I'd text everybody and let everybody know if for some reason our current service providers had a slight change of heart and did not want to honor these contracts at that price. But that notwithstanding, we have a motion by Mr. Melton to roll over these contracts with the current service providers with an increase of 3%, and that's been seconded by Mr. Webb. Any discussion? If not, I'll call a roll. Mr. Melton?
Aye.
Mr. Webb? Ms. Weir? Mr. Axlot? Mr. Sherrill? Mr. Lynn? And I vote aye. Motion passes. Item 12, consider the proposed changes to the 2026-2027 school calendar. You have a copy of those proposed changes in your packet. A couple regarding moving around some of the professional development to accommodate some of our presenters, and then moving around that abbreviated day to the day right before Christmas, a 1 hour day. Instead of the end of April, which was 4 prom.
I'll make a motion to change the 26-27 calendar.
Motion by Mr. Axelot. Second by Ms. Weir. Any discussion? That just gets earlier and earlier, right? All right. Again, we have a motion on the floor by Mr. Axelot, seconded by Ms. Weir. No further discussion. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes. Item 13, consider the following contracts for 2026-2027. A, occupational therapy, physical therapy, BCBA services with Elevate Therapy Collective. B, speech and language services with Stacy Burge. C, speech language evaluation services with Megan Brown. And D, preschool services with Head Start. Unfortunately, from one perspective, we don't have a lot of options here. But on the other flip side, I think that we're happy to have an option, correct, Ms. Betsy?
They struggle with that, don't
At least we've got an option. You should have contracts, for each one of those services in your package.
I don't think there's any price increase since last year though. I think it's the same, the only thing that has been added is the BCBA contract that we just added in March.
I'll make a motion, sections.
Motion by Mr. Sherrill,
I'll second.
second by Mr. Axelrod. Any discussion? If not, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Item 14, consider the proposed edits to the 2026-2027 elementary and high school handbooks on first reading. You have a copy of those proposed edits made to the elementary handbook. I think this was to get everybody on the same page, wasn't it? Ms. Rock, yeah.
I was trying to look it up right there.
But
to change 3 words every time, don't you? I make a motion to get the proposed changes.
Motion by Mr. Sherrill,
I say,
second by Mr. Mel. Any discussion? If not, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Item 15, consider the following policies on second reading. A, revised policy 2.400 revenues, and B, revised policy 6.411 student wellness. Again, this is second reading on these policies. You have a copy of the revised policies in your packet. I know the revenues one was a TCA change, and I believe the, student wellness was as well. But again, this is second reading on these policies.
Make a motion to accept.
Motion by Mr. Ashlock, seconded by Mr. West. Any discussion? Rob, did you have a speech prepared? I don't wanna take anything away from you there. I know you love policy.
I just have you pass them. I'll have some more for you.
I'm glad you're spreading them out.
Just wait till July.
Get a motion on the floor by Mr. Ashlock, seconded by Mr. West to pass these policies on second reading. Any further discussion? If not, all in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes. That brings us to our principal's report. Dr. Stevens?
Sure. Make up for the last couple months between snow days and spring break, I didn't have a whole lot, I got quite a bit tonight. We survived testing, hopefully everything went well, we had great attendance throughout. Special thanks to Miss Leslie for her hard work. Our fingers are crossed, we're hopeful. Pre-K and several 7th and 8th graders visited Herman Springs Park yesterday and met with Governor Lee and the First Ladies they passed through. I've seen some of the pictures and it's really cute, especially the pre-K stuff. We held interest tryout for volleyball. Girls basketball is next week. We're in the process of hiring cheer, volleyball, and boys basketball. Held a school musical fundraiser a couple weeks ago to raise money for a couple of school projects that the teachers have organized. Thanks to community members who participated, and Ms. Teresa and Ms. Laura for organizing it. A lot of talent there that night. We had obviously several field trips since we've had testing. We celebrated Teacher Appreciation Week and School Nurse Day last week with coffee and donuts, Sonic drinks, a couple of lunches, lots of praise. Had field day last Friday, and our SRO organized a Hands on a Truck, where members of EMS and the county brought an ambulance, fire truck, police car, bucket truck, loader, and the Life Flight helicopter for students to get up close and ask questions. Students went to different game stations, participated in a cookout, had their slushies, and generally had a great time. We've held pre-K, kindergarten, and 8th grade graduation, 2 of them this week. We hosted several CCHS seniors, most of them who attended Herman Springs on Tuesday for the senior walk. Miss Tara's 3rd grade submitted posters and essays for a competition with the Nashville chapter of the United Nations Association. The essays had to connect to one of the group's sustainable development goals. Clay County gets included with Rutherford County and Metro Nashville due to our ties to Cordell Hull. Camden Hickman made the first round of essay finalists, and Liz Asbury is one of 3 finalists, and she's invited to a reception at MTSU next week where the winners will be announced. I got to read her essay when the governor was there yesterday. We got a 3D printer courtesy of Gear Up. 7th grade Hunter McLaren got first place, and Josh McLaren, 4th grader Josh McLaren got second place in their regional, 4-H regional demonstration projects. I think that was yesterday. The April SRO award went to kindergartner Rex Hale and pre-K Oliver Gass. The May award went to 8th grader Levi McLaren at graduation. The attendance reward program for the year is complete. 7th grade came out on top for the 4th term. We rewarded them today with Dairy Burger gift cards. Tomorrow is a staff potluck celebrating Mr. Richard Franklin's retirement and Miss Rachel Copus's upcoming wedding. Window construction starts next week, and summer school on June 1st.
Any questions for Dr. T? As we mentioned earlier, you have, a report from, Mr. Maxfield in your packet, but he is at 8th grade graduation. Dr. Tim?
All right, you have, from Mr. and Ms. Craighead, the FFA and CTE year in review. There's a lot in those packets. Ms. Martina may talk about some of it, but I asked him if there's anything in particular he wanted to mention, and he said, just it was a great year, and it was a fantastic year. You know, they performed well in FFA and all their competitions. The baseball and softball teams did well this year. They finished their seasons. Both were undefeated in the district and regular season, and went on to host district tournaments and won those, and were put out in the region by some very good teams. Tennis this year, Coach Jake Edwards, first year coaching tennis, and you know they had several highlights. One of them was Miss Martina, who's with us here tonight. Went down to Murfreesboro and competed in the region. Had a very strong season. And also I want to mention, I know we talked about it briefly before the meeting started, but want to recognize Miss Martina Riddle here. She graduates tomorrow night, and then on Monday she starts nursing school at Ball State. So that's a huge deal. We're all really proud of her. Miss Crystal Leslie and her students participated in a beautification project at school. The fenced-in area outside of her classroom, with the aid of a grant that was secured by Miss Alicia Daly. They put mulch around the fence and planted flowers and brought in some, you know, large tires to create a little area for them right there. And then they just kept going. They got a pressure washer and they pressure washed the sidewalks out front there. Did a really good job. I think there's a post on Facebook about it where you can see that. We had our first AIRS signing day on Tuesday. That's the culminating event of working with the AIRS Foundation each year, where all the seniors, it was kind of in a graduation ceremony type format. You know, they sat out on the floor like they were at graduation, and you know, just their names were called. They went up and signed where they were going to school, or whether it was TCAT, if they were going to workforce, or going to a four-year university. But very exciting event where we recognize specifically what they're going to be doing in the future. So looking forward to that being a yearly thing. And then the only thing left is graduation tomorrow night. All of our testing and finals and everything is done. Everything has gone smooth. Tomorrow night at 7 o'clock, we are going to live stream it on Federation Network with the camera. We're gonna try that this year. The audio is the only thing. We're working on it. You can hear, if somebody speaks strongly into the microphone, you can hear it through the camera. There is a way to hook up the audio directly from the mic, and I've got a time tomorrow to speak with the Federation Network to see, everything we tried today didn't work, but regardless, hopefully in the future we'll be able to, you know, improve that even more. But it'll allow some people who can't get out, that want to see the ceremony and you know, hear the names of the people that they're interested in. It'd be a good opportunity for that. Thank you.
Any questions for Dr. Tim? Thanks, sir. Ms. Monroe?
Well, you all know that we're wrapping up everything in the school. It's been extremely busy. We've had lots of field trips, field days, graduation celebrations for the lower grades. Of course, our graduation at Clay County High School tomorrow. Lots of facility updates are moving forward. The Brownfield grant abatement process has concluded. The window project at Hermitage Springs is about to begin. These enhancements represent a continued commitment to maintain and improve our campus environments. We've got to take care of these old buildings, make sure they last for many years to come. All the TCAP and EOC testing is complete. We hope and pray that everybody has improved. Asbestos and coal removal is complete under the basement here in the old gym. We are waiting for TDEC final approval for grant reimbursements. The roof on the auditorium is complete, except we're waiting for them to finish with the gutters. And again, the window project at Hermitage Springs will begin May 21. And we're gonna also do the gym at Hermitage Springs, Rob? August, okay. And we were hoping to get that in the summer, but that's as soon as they could get us on the schedule, correct, gentlemen? Okay. Ashley is pushing through the last amendments to wrap up the budget. She and I have to go back to the county court, I guess, for a planning meeting, May the 18th, and then in June. Again, it was mentioned about the AIRS signing day was yesterday. That was a wonderful celebration, and our children our seniors have all completed FAFSAs, have completed Tennessee Promise, and everybody has signed somewhere or had jobs. Coordinated School Health, Rob has acquired a $2,700 grant for PE equipment, completed asbestos walkthroughs in all the schools, and of course you all know we've hosted at Clay County High School baseball and softball district tournaments. Special Ed, Miss Betsy, Miss Alicia, we have received preliminary allocations that will be the same for 2027 as they were to wrap up this year, correct, Miss Betsy, Miss Alicia? And of course, that's subject to change, as you all will know, from the federal government. Miss Tia with Clay County Foods, we're preparing orders and collecting information for our summer feeding program as well as summer camp meals. Miss Tia is starting a feeding program in Clay County for feeding children during the summer, so we hope that goes well. I think there is a need. And Miss Misty has been working herself to death planning for summer camps, and I think we have all the teachers, the cooks, the teacher assistants, bus drivers, everybody hired and ready to go. Miss Misty, is that correct?
Yes.
All right. Again, Dr. Tieples was telling about the United Nations Association. K8 has some involvement in that as well. We're so proud of these children. I want to read this to you. I think this is a project because of Cordell Hull, but based on the 250th anniversary of our country, right? And this is, Clay County has participated at an unheard participation level. Everyone has seemed to be really excited about that. We're very proud of Principals David Maxfield, Mallory Birdwell, Pat Teeples, Debbie Elrod, our teachers Austin Burks, Laura Miles, Tristan Stafford, Lindsay Clarkson, and Tara Asbury. And there's lots of celebrations in that. Clay County is really going to be represented at MTSU next week, and there is an outside chance they could have to go to DC, right, Pat? All right. Principals and safety teams will be conducting the official Homeland Security Safety Assessment soon. We usually do that in the summer. Our emergency operation plans are in the process of being updated. Technology, Robbie received an E-rate funding for Category 2 equipment. This is Robbie and Derek. Continuing to install new teacher desktop, answered approximately 100 service calls from the school in the last month, and has assisted with all the testing. And the testing went really well, Robbie, is that correct?
That is correct.
Thanks to the board for always keeping us with good, updated equipment. CTE is working extremely hard in the middle of page 2. Notice there, we got Balin Langford and Nathan Smith. They recently have got industry certification in information technology specialist assessment, right, Robbie?
That's correct.
And we've discovered many ways this year of how we get CTE money to be added to our budget by these kids getting all these certifications. It amounts to hundreds of dollars every time a child does some of this certification. And all the CTE teachers are really working hard on that. Miss Donetta Birdwell and Miss Mahaley Roden have been selected to receive a $1,500 Gear Up grant each that goes toward class projects money they need. Current enrollment is at the bottom of the page, and this is just touching the top coating of what all we've been doing, guys. We try to hit the highlights. I ask all of the supervisors to just give me highlights to make sure you all stay abreast. Thank you all very much.
Any questions for Ms. Monroe? Ms. Martinez?
I don't really have much to say except to add to the CTE part. A lot of our awards and graduations come from CTE, and I know there's a bunch of us that are very rich with CTE. So that's a very good program.
Yeah, very good. And you all are really blowing it away too. Yeah, congratulations.
Couple of items. One, you have a couple of letters, from retirees, in your packet as well. So, appreciate the service of Mr. Richard Franklin and Miss Leanne Strong Hayes, as they are retiring. Also, our June board meeting, that is the time when we typically pass our budget. Each year, seems like a bigger undertaking, doesn't it? And so, last couple of years, I think we've, pushed that meeting back just a little bit, and, I would ask if it's okay with the board that we push back at least a week, this year. So, for our June board meeting, it was scheduled, is scheduled for June the 11th. If it pleases the board and you have no conflicts, I would ask that we could push that back to the week of, or to June 18th for our regular board meeting. Would that cause anybody any grief or heartburn? Maybe Mr. Cheryl, apparently.
Sorry, guys. I just turned it over. I'm good with you, that thing.
Additionally, we would, propose a, planning meeting, budget planning meeting on that Tuesday. I know that's not ideal, that gives you 2 meetings that week, but that's where we could, give Ashley and Miss Monroe some direction if there are choices to be made, things that you would like to see implemented, things of that sort. So if we met Tuesday, the 16th, at 6 o'clock, and to review a preliminary copy of the budget before we passed the budget on, Thursday. Would that work for everyone? Obviously, that's not a, required meeting for you, but, your participation in that would be greatly appreciated and be very insightful, into the proposed budget that we would ask you to pass, on June 18th. But, if that works for everybody, we will proceed accordingly and advertise accordingly. Ron will do that for us. Ms. Martina, I don't know if, you'll wanna come back after, tomorrow night, but obviously you're more than welcome to. We certainly appreciate your service. If you don't get to come back, we completely understand, but, you've been a wonderful addition, to our meetings, and we certainly appreciate you and our other board members, student board members as well. So we appreciate it, and, we're certainly glad that, you were willing to, fill this seat for us. Is there anything else that needs to be considered before the board at this time? Motion to adjourn? Second. Second, no. All in favor?